Hey guys, Alex here with Serious Goose Games. Welcome back to our Unity Tactics RPG tutorial. Last time we added a window to display detailed information about a unit. Today we're going to go through and fix the various bugs and issues that have popped up. That way we don't have too much of a mess when we start polishing at the end. The first thing we're going to look at is why our units aren't leveling. And if we look, we can see that they are in fact leveling. We are increasing their stats. That is a thing that we are actively doing. The thing we aren't doing is increasing their level. So the level is not changing or displaying, and we're also not factoring in what if they gain multiple levels in one go. So right under where we do experience the level, we're going to do level plus plus. So we're going to increment our level up, and then at the bottom we're going to add an if statement. So if our experience is greater than our experience to level, or greater than or equal to our experience to level, then we're going to call level up again. So this function will call itself until this is not met. So if we gain a crap load of experience somehow, maybe a boss gives extra experience or something gives us extra experience, we'll level up properly. We don't have to worry about it not leveling. The next thing I want to fix is highlighting. So the enemy turn, tiles get marked as highlighted, so when it switches to our turn, tiles will highlight when we hover over them. So in our player script, we're going to change reset units to also reset the grid. So in reset units, right before we do the for each loop, we're going to grab our grid manager, .reset grid highlights. Next, we're going to hop back to our unit script, and we want to check on pointer down. We want to clean this up a little bit. So the changes we're going to make are after we calculate distance. So once we get distance, we're going to do if distance is less than or equal to player unit dot attack range. And then inside here, we're going to do another if statement to check if we have attacks left. So if player unit dot attacks left is greater than 0, then we're going to call player unit dot attack, and we're going to pass in this unit that we just clicked. Otherwise, we're going to return, since there's nothing we can do. And because we're doing it that way, we can get rid of this if distance is greater than player unit dot attack range return, because now we're handling the attack in general. We're also going to get rid of this part right here, player unit dot attacks left is greater than 0. And we're just going to have this statement be if closest attack tile is equal to null, then we're going to return out. Because this means that no tile will ever be in range, so we're just not going to move or attack. And then here, if there's no valid path, we want to return. And if we make it to the end of this function without returning, meaning we've checked to see if we can attack, we've checked to see if we can move close, if we've made it to the end here, we're going to move to wherever we just clicked. Whatever unit we just clicked to. And now the last thing we're going to do is refactor a little bit. I think moving forward, we'll refactor like one thing in almost every video. Some videos we might skip it, especially if we're working on a bigger system like the inventory system. But this will give me time to explain it a little better, as well as make sure we don't have another video like episode 16. I am really not a fan of that video. So in player AI, we're going to implement a table-like system to make behavior thresholds easier to manage and make our function a little easier to read. So the first thing we're going to do is define our table. So we're going to create a private, and we're going to create our own little mini data type here, int threshold, followed by AI behaviors behavior. And this is going to be an array, and we're going to name it behavior table. Then we'll do an equal sign, and then we can start filling out our values. And we might want to make sure that there's a semicolon after that last curly brace. So inside here, we're going to put an integer followed by a behavior. So these are the thresholds. How many enemies still need to be alive for this behavior to take effect? So our first one, if 25 or more enemies are still on the board, it's going to be 25, and then AI behaviors dot random. So what we're essentially doing here is creating a table, and we can modify these numbers if we want to tweak or change things. If we want certain levels to have a bigger or smaller threshold, or maybe our maps just don't have that many units, we can tweak that threshold, and maybe instead of having it be the number of units that are still alive, we could assign like a difficulty score instead and have that be the threshold. But this table setup makes it really easy to add or modify or change these behaviors. And it's just taking that switch statement we had and essentially making it into a table. And now that we have that table, we want to go to check behavior and modify check behavior to use that table. So right now you can see we have this kind of staggered if statement. I thought I used a switch, but I did not. So we're essentially going to be shortening this significantly. Instead of having this continuous if statement, we're just going to check behaviors. So we have our units left, and we're going to replace all of these. We're going to do a for each loop, var entry in behavior table. And then for each entry, we're going to check. So if units left is greater than entry.threshold, then behavior is going to be equal to entry.behavior, and we're going to return. If we make it through that for each loop and we haven't returned, that means the only other behavior left is smart, meaning we have so few units that the AI needs to start playing smart, which the behavior we defined earlier. So we took that huge branching statement and made it so that this will work with any behaviors we add. We could add 20 new behaviors and we won't have to modify or change this at all unless we make the kind of last resort behavior different from smart. So it doesn't matter how big this table gets, so that function now no longer needs to be changed. So after that, we can go ahead and save everything, head back to Unity, and hit play. So like the other bug fixing and refactoring videos, not a whole lot has changed visually, but we can properly level up now. Plus, we can move to a target when we click on an enemy again. That wasn't super broken, but we did make it more efficient. Now, in the next video, we're going to start working on our inventory system so we can really nail down our combat. That's all for today, though, so if you found this video helpful, hit like and subscribe to help other devs find the series. Let me know in the comments, do you prefer small refactor segments or long dedicated videos? I honestly hate episode 16 and would much rather do these smaller refactoring segments. It's also less overwhelming, I think, to follow. Going from episode 15 to 17, it's like a whole new code base. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Alex with Serious Goose Games, and I'll see you in the next one.